push this button, you're good to go. I'm like, okay, we'll get started. You good?
Yeah.
We're ready. Hello, everybody. I'm Sean Lee, your realtor with Nebraska Realty, and today we have a special guest and a special drink. My special guest today is Blake Martin with Frannet of the Heartland.
Nailed it.
Right? I got it. It just rolls
it.
off, Frannet of the Heartland. And it just rolls right off. So, and why don't you just tell everybody exactly what you do?
Sure.
For anybody that's listening, traveling across the state, you want to do something, you want to learn about businesses, this is the man that you should talk to, and he can hook you up and help you learn about if something's right for you, right? I mean, that's the whole deal. Yeah, go ahead. I'm
Sure.
sorry. I invite you on the show, and then I go ahead and do all the talking. You go ahead.
Well, you have to do the intro.
The
right?
intro.
You gotta give us
Hopefully it
some
was
direction,
smooth. It was just right on there. So yeah.
It redefined smooth.
Did it really? Okay, good, perfect.
Do you want me to talk
Perfect.
to the audience or to you?
You know, just talk to both of us. It's
That sounds
fine.
good. Feel like
Sometimes
I'm
I
in a
look at it
conversation.
and I, make a visual.
Gotcha.
If not, we'll just
Right.
make it as natural as fun.
So
give
what
it
do
a-
I do?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I'm an entrepreneur, a business owner. Specifically now, this time around, I'm a small business franchise owner. And what I do is I help folks that are looking to do the same thing. They're looking to start their own business, and they're trying to decide, well, okay, there's a lot of different ways to get into business, but kind of when you boil it down to its brass tacks, you can hang your own shingle, you can buy an existing business, or you can join a system like a franchise, which is kind of a hybrid of the two, right? So it's proven system and processes, but you're opening new doors usually when you join a franchise. So I help people walk through that decision-making process through a proven process and steps and procedures that we've established as an organization over the years to figure out, A, is it the right time to do your own thing? And if it is, B, which of those paths should you choose from as you're trying to research different businesses? Now, having owned my own business and started my own business the first time from scratch, I feel like I can give people an example from that. And this second time around, when I started my own business, I said, yeah, I'm okay with learning from somebody else's successes and failures. I'm going to join a franchise system, which ironically, so I joined a franchise system where I teach other people about franchising. But if people determine after we go through this initial analysis, hey, I'm interested in researching the franchising field, that's where we come in. We help people figure out, well, what should you be looking at based upon what you're looking for? And how do you do research the right way when it comes to the franchising industry? Because it's this huge elephant, right?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you saw the show. I had Scott Asmus with SourceLink Nebraska.
Yeah.
A lot of people. I can't believe how many tools are available out there for people, and you can help people do that also. There's so many people want to start their own business or again have a franchise business. They want to be their own boss, right? I mean, that's
exactly
what people want to do. So, or I assume, but I figure with so many people and just listen
sometimes
to
you just
Scott
want to get
and
away
you
from
just
their
want
boss.
to, yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe that's it. So and you're so easy to get a hold of as far as scheduling a time, right? Like you go to Frannet of the Heartland. You just type in Blake Martin Frannet. It pops up. You can go to your website. People can just click with you and you'll visit with them, right? Or schedule a calendar.
We try to make it
deal,
easy.
and we'll meet and discuss things and give people some ideas and really start the process, right? I mean,
correct.
That's what I did to get a hold of you. I mean, so we had coffee one time before, so I know the process. It's good time. Yeah. What do you think offhand? Just, I mean, what do we need here in town?
As far as business categories?
Yeah. Give me an idea. I mean, because I've had a lot of people on the show, and of course we talk a little bit about local Nebraska Sips, but so many cool businesses and what people have going on. It's really amazing in Omaha, and ever since I started doing it, I'm like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
The amount of stuff people do.
Yep.
What do you see as different things that people could
Yeah.
could do around here. People ever
Oh,
ask
I
that question?
get that
don't
question all the time.
Okay.
People figure out that I'm in the franchising field, and their minds immediately go to like restaurants and retail, right? Why wouldn't they? That's what we see everywhere. So, we need this, or you ate at that restaurant, right? It's like, why don't we have one of those here yet? Which is a fair question. And oftentimes that's where the conversation goes, is restaurants, et cetera. Well, those are going to come when the supply chain comes, typically, right? A lot of those restaurants, they move into the center of the country.
Okay.
What fascinates me, and to answer your question directly, is some of those things that you don't even know are a franchise. Maybe they're a business-to-business play, so they're not trying to be out there in the general public's ear, but it's more like they've got their channel of marketing that they're looking for.
Okay.
So what we really need is, we continue to have a need for services that have to do with youth enrichment. So that could be businesses that are building character for kids, or provide outlets for kids, where schools have had to cut back on what they have as far as physical exercise or physical activity for kids, or being able to add on, because of the constrictions of what they're allowed to put into their curriculum, being able to add on things like STEM schooling.
Okay.
So there's a lot of franchises and businesses that are in the field of STEM youth enrichment for kids.
Holy
And
smokes,
there's a huge demand for that. I helped somebody start a Montessori preschool. It's a franchise.
Really?
And they're getting ready to open up in the fall or winter of this year. Just depends on site selection stuff.
Okay.
I'm sure you'll get them all set.
Yeah, okay. I can do it. That'd be great.
But there's really absolutely no doubt in the minds of the franchisor, who's opened up locations all over the country, that we're going to have a wait list in Omaha
cow.
and Lincoln for this business. When they get ready to open their doors, we'll have a wait list before we're even done with the site build out. Because there's just a huge demand for different options. So healthcare is also a big one. Everybody says, wow, okay, yeah, we're here in Omaha. We're like the mecca of home health care, because Home Instead and Right at Home are both based here and started here. So I think we get a little fatigued on another home care, whatever. But when you look at the demographics, you look at the statistics, a business like 101 Mobility that opened up their doors here in town.
I went to that
Tom and
grand
Donna.
opening, so that was fun. Or re-grand opening. Yeah, that's a cool place.
They help seniors and disabled individuals who don't want to leave their home, and they want to be able to get around, with if they can get a lift chair or even an elevator put in their home.
I'm going to put their stuff up right underneath here.
There you
I like
go.
to do that. I'll put their stuff up on there, because that was a good one. So, again, more stuff like that. Health.
Yeah.
Wow. Like you said, I always think restaurants on franchising. When people
Everybody
says a
does.
franchise restaurant, I don't want to do. I don't want to open a restaurant. But there's so much more. Like you just said,
it is a bigger investment. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Well, I can only imagine.
Yep.
And you have been doing this for 20-something
Yeah,
years.
you're dating me. You're definitely dating me.
Well, you can't be more than 32.
My blonde
so
hair should tell you that.
Is that what it is? Yeah. I don't know. I mean, you've been doing
I'm a
that for a while.
franchising nerd. Yeah, I'm
You're
a franchising nerd.
So okay.
Started off about 22 years now. Been the franchisor, been the franchisee.
Okay.
Now what I really love is, a short way of explaining what I do for a living, to go back to your first question, is I'm the match.com for local entrepreneurs.
I like it.
My job is to match up people who are looking for something with franchise organizations and other organizations that are looking for somebody who are a match for their culture and what they're looking for in an owner in their business.
That's just crazy, because there's so many people who just don't know how to get started on any of it. So
true.
it's there's so much information, and it's readily accessible. That's a crazy thing.
Yeah, but where do you start?
Where do you start?
Right? Yeah.
Huh.
So.
Well, I will tell you this. This guy who started this Kinkaider Brewing, have you ever had Kinkaider?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so
Couple times.
all right. Well, Kinkaider, I'm gonna just drink this. I just saw this on the shelves, and of course, this is a non-paid. That we just, I just have people
Just
on
an
the show. We're just an endorsement. Oktoberfest Pale Lager, and you are training. I'm gonna open this, but you are training.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about that. I'll pour this, but the 50
So I got
mile
my shirt
march.
on. It's the 50-mile march.
Okay.
Let me tell you a little bit about
Yeah,
that.
I wish you would.
I'm so short, I better move this stuff. Otherwise,
Okay.
So this is not my company gear, but I got clued into the 50-mile march, which is a 50-mile march from Lincoln to Omaha, where every penny we raise goes to help charities that get veterans in the local area off the street. They're living homeless. They're living off the street and into the therapy or assistance that they need in the local area. So because I'm training for marching 50 miles from Lincoln to Omaha in 12 days, I got my O'Doul's today.
Okay.
I'm super cool today, drinking my NA beer.
You got to do it. I mean,
cheers.
I would think that is there somebody on the route, the 50-mile route? Mm-hmm. Where does that start?
Yeah. Starts on the Capitol steps.
Oh, it does?
Yeah. And we do have, so this has grown. Jay Morales and Jamie Seaman, who were the co-founders of this, started it 4 years ago. And at the last minute, a small group of them decided, 6 of them decided, let's do this. I think it was actually for Jay's birthday. He was having like a big 0 birthday or something.
Okay.
Anyways, they did the walk and they completed it despite not really being ready for it. But they raised way more money than he's a veteran, right?
Okay, right, yeah.
So they raised way more money than they ever anticipated because they were streaming live and the donations just started coming in when people realized, hey, literally what these guys are doing is they're kind of sacrificing their bodies, walking 50 miles on hot concrete, 24 hours straight with no sleep or anything. But every penny that they're raising is going to help get local veterans the assistance they need and off the streets and drive that number down. You've heard the statistics, right? 22 veterans take their own life every day, Sean, every day.
I can't even believe it. I was listening to your podcast and I heard your guest, talking about that. I was just...
It's dumbfounding.
Shocked.
Think about, we're here in Omaha, the city of Blair, Nebraska. That's like 7,900 and change people. Imagine that city being wiped off the face of the earth every year. Those are the number of veterans that we're losing because of trauma they experienced, post-traumatic stress disorder, and the resulting impact that has on their life. And they don't want to ask for help or they don't know where to go for help. And so the charities that we're funding and the tools that are being created as a result of this fundraising help to connect those veterans with other veterans who run organizations like Moving Veterans Forward, who all they do is they go get veterans off the street and put them into safe housing, give them the basic furniture, and give them the skills to get into the workforce and make a meaningful contribution to the community, which is all they've ever wanted to do. Right. These are people that were willing to take a bullet for us so that we could do stuff like have our own podcast.
Yeah. Yeah.
The least we could do is march 50 miles to create awareness for everybody helping get them off the streets. That's the least we could do.
50 miles. And that ends here in Omaha.
Yeah.
Where's that end at?
It ends at Nebraska Brewing.
Okay.
Nebraska Brewing.
You know what? I guess I didn't put 2 and 2 together. Nebraska Brewing. I wish I would have known that. We would have had another brew. All these beer groups should all get together,
Right. So Nebraska Brewing has been a huge sponsor of the 50-mile march and not only hosts all of our meetings and stuff for free because we have to cover all of our costs, but they've made sizable contributions to the effort. And at no cost, they're hosting this big Crossing the Finish Line party on August 27th at Nebraska Brewing. So when we come in the afternoon of the 27th after our 50 miles, there'll be a big celebration and recognition, and they host it all there on their own dime.
Holy cow! Okay, well that's cool. Yeah. Cool. So when you start, it takes you 24 hours, or some people longer.
About 23 this year. They actually added like 2 miles, so it'll be exactly 50 miles this year. So they added a few miles to the route because we follow the highway, not the freeway.
Okay.
We follow the highway like 6 and whatnot, all the way through from Lincoln to Omaha.
Okay, yeah.
And so this year it'll probably be like 23 and a half hours. So we get breaks about every 10 miles for foot care, hydration, grab a banana. But this is not a pass the baton to the next guy and
I know there's one of those. That's what I was thinking. Okay, wow, this is a serious deal.
Yeah.
Okay, people should look it up.
50milemarch.org.
50milemarch.org.
50-mile march. So 50milemarch.org.
Wow. Well, that's a cool thing too. And you've been involved for how long now?
This will be my 3rd year marching.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I went out in my own rabbit hole. You asked me the question. They marched that first year. There were 6 of them. They raised $25,000 when they thought they're going to raise a couple grand. The second year, there was 38 of us who crossed the finish line, and we raised like $125,000. Last year, there was almost 60 of us. Is that right? Yeah, I think almost 60 of us who crossed the finish line, and we raised $250,000.
Holy smokes.
So this became a serious thing, right? They had to get serious governance in place and get an executive director, and they're working with the Papio Foundation for all the governance to make sure that any penny anybody donates, it's going to be accounted for.
Okay.
Right? You get your 501c3 write-off, et cetera. This year there's going to be, last I heard, was 83 marchers, and the goal is to raise at least $300,000. All of us cover our own costs, so none of this is going to pay us back for RO duels or new tennis shoes or whatever. Yeah, this is...
Jeez,
again,
Louise.
The theme is they serve for us, we march for them. And I think that says it all.
Serve for us, march for them. Okay, wow. Okay, well, I'll be looking forward to hearing how you do and talking to you again.
I hope you'll be.
Is there a lot of people driving around? I mean, because it goes through the night.
Yeah. So they've set it up such there are people driving around, and it gets a little nerve-wracking when it's like 2:30 in the morning, and the only people on the road on Saturday night, Sunday morning at 2:30 are leaving the bars.
Right.
And we're going through like. What is it, Greenway or Green? But anyways, we're walking, kind of on dark, state highways.
Yeah.
Maybe passing, let's say, we're getting between Ashland and Gretna, right?
You're getting towards the end. You're thinking, wow, we're almost there. We've almost got it.
Right. So when we go through the towns, we have like a police or sometimes a fire escort that are passing us through the town safely and. Making sure that traffic is clear so none of us get hit because, needless to say, safety is the most important thing with this thing. But then the whole way along the highway, from mile 1 all the way to the very finish line, we do have a lead car and a follow car that make sure that all the traffic knows that we're coming. And there's a billboard sign that people can see, here's what we're doing. So generally when we get honked at, it's honks of support.
Support.
Yeah.
For the most part. Wow, okay. Well, that's incredible. I'm glad you wore that shirt. I listened to that podcast.
Thank you.
The other
on
day
my Heartland Franchise Guy podcast.
That's right, your Heartland Franchise Guy. That's the Heartland Franchise Guy.
Nailed it.
Yep. Got that, so you just type that in, too. I'm sure you got hashtag Heartland Franchise Guy all over. Yeah. I tell you what, when I'm out talking to people and I say, hey, I mean, people know who Blake Martin is, so I mean that's always a good sign.
Hopefully that's.
They say, "Geez, hey, do you know Blake Martin?" I'm like, I didn't at the time, and then they'd be like, "Yeah, I'd be out someplace," and I'm like, "Yeah, I'm doing the show. You know who you need? You need Blake Martin on the show." I'm like, everybody keeps talking about Blake Martin. I don't know. I gotta have him. Well, it should be. So if you need information, you can go. To your is that how most people get a hold of you? The website or just Frannet?
Yeah, if you Google Frannet or go to frannet.com, you can.
You'll track.
You can call me too.
Okay.
402-415-3651.
3651. Yeah. All right. I'm gonna have that. I'm putting that out.
Yeah. Well, I'll give you a royalty every time somebody calls me.
Man, you know what? Just tell them you saw this show,
and
then we'll get a royalty right off of that.
Sips and tips.
Omaha Sips and Tips. Well, I was going to say this drink here, Kinkaider, because there's so many. You talked about Nebraska Brewing.
Yep.
They're good, too. But this beer, since it's right here, this is great. So in case you get a chance after August 27th, I assume you're going to switch back and just have a nice big steak. Maybe you won't. I don't know. Maybe it might be a positive.
Night.
Give it a day.
I will tell you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm interrupting.
No, I was going to say you just give it a day or two. Get yourself recouped. Electrolytes, Pedialyte. I don't know all that stuff.
All of the above.
All of the above. I think you're going to need. So, What do you got on this?
So, I I made the decision this year that because it is all about hydration and just being in shape, and I love me a beer every once in a while. But 60 days before the start of this, so at the end of July or end of June, I said, all right, I'm just gonna go to pure NA and water, right?
Okay.
So I've become a connoisseur of NA beers. I got to tell you, I've had just about all of them. There's some NA beers. Almost every brand, every major brand has an NA beer, right? Yeah. And I went through all of them. And the funny thing is, like most people, I think if you do a poll with folks and ask them for the name of an NA beer, O'Doul's usually comes up
That's
first.
true. That's what I would say.
And I would argue it actually is. It tastes the best.
Okay.
Bud Zero has no taste really at all. O'Doul's, I like.
Okay.
There's a few, because I believe in keeping things positive. There's a few that I had one and I said, nope, okay, not for me, not going there. Not going there again.
All right.
Yeah. So Lagunitas, not bad.
Okay.
It's pretty good. But
I've seen some of those.
This is a little step ahead. So O'Doul's is my NA beer of choice.
Okay.
After a lot of trial and error.
Lot of
and
testing,
probably
60
unnecessary
days of
trips
testing.
to the bathroom.
Well, when that's what happens. That's good. That's
Yeah.
good for when you're hydrating. Man, I had that 50 March down. What else you got going on for you? Tell me about the life of what else is going on. You've got a podcast, so if people want to listen to your podcast, you always have folks, talking about maybe the type of leadership they need or some kind of training on your cast. And that's the Heartland Franchise Guy podcast.
Correct.
So you can check that out too. Subscribe to that.
Yep, it's on all the major podcast
YouTube,
platforms. Yeah.
Okay, and you can get some information, see some people you've got on there, some guests. The last one was
Gabe
your
Ruiz,
guest, Gabe.
who's also marching in the 50-mile march. Yeah.
Okay, and he's a veteran.
No, he's not a veteran. No.
That's
His father's a
good.
veteran.
That's good. That I thought maybe he was a veteran. Maybe I misheard that. But
you don't have to be a veteran to participate in this.
Okay.
Right. Just
Next year's goal is 100 people, right?
Yeah. Well, one of the goals for next year is to do it in more than one venue, right? So there'd be more than one 50-mile march across the country. That's one of the big goals.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, tell me what do you got going? The Heartland Franchise Guy. That's pretty cool too, right?
Well, thank you.
The Heartland Franchise Guy. I mean, what do you got? What do you got going? You got anything coming up that you're...
Business-wise, we do three things.
Okay.
Two of them that you've mentioned, right? We help people who are trying to start their own business and ultimately determine they want to learn more about the franchising field to determine if that's the way they want to get into business.
Okay.
Do the podcast, educational, for the same reason that you do, right? There's a lot of people that they want to research stuff like this, small business, franchise ownership, but they're not ready to talk to somebody yet, right? They just want some good, no nonsense, non-promotional. Right. So a lot of the people that I have, yeah, I'll have people who are local franchise owners or maybe franchisors, and they talk about their experience and what they think good franchising looks like. Maybe lenders and funders who work in the franchising field, and then just stuff that's entrepreneurship in general. It doesn't have to be only franchising. So
yeah, I think you had someone on there the other day that was talking about. I think sometimes people think, well, you get a franchise, then you're in one location, but these folks end up buying a couple other locations. You know which one I'm talking about?
Probably the Club Pilates folks.
Yeah, that was them.
Opening up their fourth location in the Omaha metro.
Okay. So it's not like you're confined to one deal. I mean, you can keep going. I mean,
most franchise organizations, unless they're like a McDonald's, it's already expanded everywhere. Really, they're more interested in having a smaller number of large franchise owners. If you think about it logistically, it makes sense for them. And if somebody's proven to them in one location that we can make this business work and make it profitable for us and for the franchisor, then they would prefer to have that same individual, that same couple, that same partnership be the one to own a second location.
Okay,
right? Just makes sense.
Right.
And so they're targeting and focusing on folks that, whether it's in the very beginning or over several years period, they want to expand into more locations. That's very common in the franchising field.
Okay. Because sometimes I think maybe people think, geez, there's just one, I kind of want to grow something big.
Yeah.
And you can, right? Exactly. I mean, how many franchises? Now I kind of know because I looked at the website and I've been searching around it. But I mean, You've
done your homework.
I was shocked to see that. I mean, I don't know if they're all here, but there's like 4,000 different franchises available that people could kind of, based on their personality, whatever they wanted to do, and they would work with you to figure all that out, right? I mean, just 4,000.
Yeah. So if you
that's crazy.
If you're thinking that you want to start your own franchise, right? You want to start your own business.
Right.
And you're looking at the franchise field. Whatever you do, if you Google it, you go to one of those websites or one of those repositories that is choose your own franchise.
Yeah.
Just make sure you don't put in an email address.
Because you're going to get 4,000 emails from someone else.
You will get bombarded, and they're persistent, right? So,
yeah. Okay.
Well, so the good news is there's a ton of choices, but like every industry, right? There's good, better, and best, right? So, what we're trying to do is help people figure out, well, what makes a top-performing franchise system a top-performing franchise system? Which ones really qualify as a top-performing franchise system, and how do I figure out if one of those really matches what I'm trying to achieve, what my criteria for a good business is, including things like my investment comfort zone, but also just digging into details that sometimes people forget to ask themselves when they're choosing a business, like, am I really okay with a business where every time I want to grow my revenues, I'm going to have to add more staff? Or do I want a different kind of business that doesn't work that way?
Yeah.
So.
Okay, and that's all through you. So that's good. That's always good to know because we have such a great, vibrant. Just the people I've met on here, just vibrant people, just want to do their stuff.
Community.
Hey, I just want to do my stuff. It's a great place, and you know what? And that's across. In Omaha's one, but really in the state of Nebraska, there's some incredible. Stuff out there, really.
Yeah.
I was, just people wanting, just the people's personality and desire to.
Mm-hmm. There's an entrepreneurial spirit.
Yeah.
Around here. And, I mean, I'm sure historians would tell you that it goes all the way back to the founding of Omaha, right? When it was kind of the Wild West. It was like the Las Vegas before there was a Las Vegas. And be careful, don't take your children to Omaha.
That's your last stop.
Mm-hmm. But everybody was willing to try everything. And, I mean, really what made Omaha what it is today was, of course, the Transcontinental Railroad. And everybody was breaking out and getting out to the being a 49er. And then the ones that stuck here because of the Transcontinental Railroad. So it was all about entrepreneurship. And I think those... that DNA is embedded well in our history.
Yeah.
So.
Geez. Well, I tell you what, it's. I'm just reading my notes, and you've hit on everything I was even going to ask you. So that's. I mean, that's.
I didn't
good.
answer
You've
your
done this
question.
a few times. Yeah. Do answer my question.
I said I got 3 buckets, right? The podcast, helping the franchise brokerage, where I'm helping people find their own business, and then those folks that have an existing business and they say, I want to expand it. I'm thinking about turning this into a franchise. Who do I talk to? That's, that was what I did before I did this in the franchising field, is take existing businesses and turn them into franchises. And so we help walk people through that process, introduce them to the right advisors that can help them, determine, is this really what you want to do? Because that's a big decision.
Right.
But if you're ready for it and that is the most appropriate way for you to expand your business, then walk you through the steps of actually building out the systems, the structure, the process for finding the right franchise owners, and then supporting them so that you grow that business into a viable, sustainable franchise system.
Wow, okay. You got a lot of stuff going on.
Keeps me busy. Keeps me out of trouble.
Yeah, it keeps you out of trouble.
Keeps me out of trouble.
I mean, I'm selling houses and I'm doing this show, so that keeps me out of trouble. So
those are 2 very
That's the only
busy
thing
tasks.
we've got going on. And now I'm gonna have to go mow my yard tonight. I thought we were gonna stay here all night and just just hang out, which we can do. But I know you're a busy man. You got other things to do. But I just wanted to say, hey, I appreciate you coming out here today.
I appreciate you having me here. Thank you.
It's been a real good time. I think people, and I always say this, my mom at least is going to make it to the end of this show. So she always seems to leave me a nice comment. Thanks, Mom. But,
awesome.
Hey, things are really happening. So maybe you some people franchisee questions from people, and I hope they give you a call. But I do appreciate you coming on this show.
I appreciate you having me here.
We're gonna wind it down, but first, this is a 10, Kinkaider 10.
Yeah?
I wish you could taste this, but I mean,
Well,
look
I
at
can't
that. It
taste
looks
It's
so
not like
nice.
I'm allergic to the beer.
I mean, you know.
Do you want me to pop this one?
Well, you can.
All right. I mean,
Yeah,
I've
here's
had it
a
out of
nice
their
little
tap.
glass. These are Sean, Nebraska Realty. There you go. Get that. You tell me that's not a good 10, Kinkaider. That is delicious.
that is a really good beer.
This is. I'm
Yeah.
gonna grill something tonight when I get home, and I'm gonna have that. That's really nice. Cool can too, right? Good job, Kinkaider. It's a 10. And O'Doul's, that's probably a 10.
Well, it's a 10 out of the
It's a
NA
10.
beers.
It's 10 out of the NA beers. All right, man. Blake, I appreciate you coming on here. We'll wind this show down. I know you got places to go. I'm Sean Lee. Thanks everybody for tuning in to this episode. This is number 23, believe it or not.
Congratulations.
23. Thanks for tuning in, and take care, and good luck on this 50-mile march. 50milemarch.org. 50march.org. And if you're looking for a Heartland right here in Nebraska franchise, give this guy a call. I'll put his number back up if you're watching. So,
Thank you,
thanks
Sean.
for showing.
Appreciate
Man.
you having me.
All right, you bet. Here we go.
And out. This is a good beer.